Hey folks, Jamie MacDonald, Olympus Visionary here with another visionary tip. This week's tip is going to be on workflow, or more specifically my personal workflow. I'm working on the Mac OS X operating system here, so if you're a Windows user you can watch, but you might not necessarily benefit from everything that you'll see in this video. Specifically, we're going to be using a couple of applications that are only found on the Mac, and if there are Windows alternatives out there for these applications, I would be really interested in finding out about them so that I could share them with other people. Underneath the screencast in the description box there will be links to anything that applies to this screencast, and specifically for this one, a link to where you can download one of the applications that I'm about to discuss, and that application is called Fiwi. It's sort of like Kiwi but with an F, F-I-W-I. And what is Fiwi? Well, Fiwi is an application that allows you to set up some default actions that occur when you attach, say, an external hard drive, or if you insert an SD card or compact flash card into your Mac. And in my case, this is what happens. When I insert an SD card or compact flash card, Fiwi will automatically launch two Finder windows, scale them side by side, and the reason I have it do this is so that it facilitates the transfer of images from the SD card over to where I'm going to store them on one of my external hard drives for my Lightroom library. So we'll go ahead and we'll open up the SD card, and here we've got some balloon images that I actually shot last year at a balloon festival, but we'll use them as the example in this screencast. So I open up my SD card to where I've got the images in the right window, and then on the left I'll open up my external hard drive, which is my current Lightroom library. And in case you missed it, because I kind of get a little click happy, I have it broken down into folders, and the folders are based on year. So this is when I first started shooting photos. I've been organized since 2007. So we're going to open up the All Photos 12, which is 2012, and you see I've got some other folders that are based on, I don't know, client shoots and things like that. So we'll open up the 2012 folder, and we're going to create a subfolder in here, and we're going to name this folder Balloons and Screencast. Typically you can see that I will name folders after either an event like the Balloon Jubilee of 2012 or a location, and when I say barn, I've got one barn I like to shoot a lot, and you can see also that I put the date after whatever the event or location or subject is in most cases. If it's something that only comes around once a year, like my son's basketball tournament, or I don't know, we'll say a holiday like Thanksgiving or whatever, then generally I don't put a date after it. But if it's something like this, then I will put a date after it. So we've got our folder created, and we'll go ahead and open up that. Now the other thing that's going to make this Mac specific screencast is that I'm going to use an application that comes bundled with all Macs called Automator. And I'm going to use Automator to batch rename part of the files that are on the SD card. I've recently started appending the name of the event or the location or the subject or whatever to the file name, and this just makes searching through 40,000 photos a lot easier if I'm looking for a specific event or location or what have you. And rather than try to go through and name them one at a time, the easiest way to do this is with an Automator workflow, and I'll show you what that means. So we'll go ahead and we'll open up Automator. It's actually already opened up here in Quicksilver for me, so let's open this up. Now, if you've never used Automator, like I said before, Automator is a Mac specific application. It comes bundled with every Mac, and what Automator does is it allows you basically to become a programmer, to create your own little programs. And I made one that's going to help me rename images or files in batches. It's sped things up so much for me, and I'll show you how to do that now. So go to your applications folder and open up Automator, and you would go to File, you'd go to File and New, and you'd make a new workflow. Okay, So you can see right here I've already got us in workflow mode here. On the left you've got a library of actions that you can choose from. And since we're going to be renaming files, we'd go to the Files and Folders section. And when you click on that, in the right, you get a bunch of different actions that you can choose from. And what we're going to be doing is we need to choose Get Specified Finder Items. Alright? And basically that just means we're going to be getting the items off of our SD card, right? So you click and highlight it and drag it over here to the right. And you can see this is the first step in our workflow, is Get Specified Finder Items. And you've got a box for adding your finder items or removing them. The next thing that we want to do is we want to rename them, right? Because that's what we're doing, is a big batch rename. So further down in the list, you see we've got Rename Finder Items. So we want to put that over there. So when you go to drag it over there, you're going to see that Automator is going to tell you, whoa, hold on. You're going to be renaming the original file. Are you sure you want to do that? Do you want to make a copy instead? I don't want to do a copy. I don't like having multiples of everything floating around out there. So for me personally, I'm just going to say don't add a copy finder items action, okay? So here we are. This is our entire workflow. It's pretty simple. But you see, we don't want to add a date or a time to it. What we want to do is we want to replace text, right? So we'll click on Replace Text. And this is what we're going to do. If you look over here, let me move this out of the way. Okay. So in our Finder window, you can see that the files from the camera are prefaced with PC. And I don't want that. Okay. What I want is to replace that with something that makes more sense for what I'm working with. Balloons, right? So we'll replace the text PC with balloon. Okay, simple, right? We'll add files. So we're going to choose our SD card. Command A to select them all. And click Add. Up here in the top right corner, you see the Run button. You just hit Run. And that's it. We can quit Automator, and you can see right over here they've all been replaced. The PC is replaced with the word balloon. Simple. We'll Command A to select them all. And here's where I just drag and drop. And by dragging and dropping, it just copies. I don't ever move everything off of the SD card until I've got it not only on my main library drive, but also on a backup drive. And even then, they don't come off of the SD card until the next shoot, at which point I will format the card and start shooting with a fresh card then. After they've been moved onto the 2 hard drives on my computer, and you can see I've got several over here, once they've been moved initially over to those 2 drives, I'll start the process of backing up to Amazon's S3. That's just what I'm using right now. It's getting kind of expensive, so I'm looking for alternatives at this point, but you can see that my workflow has some redundancy in backup because I personally do not want to lose an image. I haven't lost any yet, and it's not because I haven't lost hard drives, because I have lost hard drives. But so far, knock on wood, I have not lost an image due to drive failure, just because I'm ridiculously anal about multiple copies of everything. So that's it. I'm not going to go any further with it. Everybody knows how to import into Lightroom, I'm sure, and my workflow there probably isn't any different than yours. But I just wanted to make you aware of those 2 applications, Fiwi and Automator, and how I use them with my workflow. And if you do use Automator in your workflow in some way differently than what I do, I would love to hear about it in the comments, because I'm always looking for new and improved ways of managing my own workflow. And I'd be glad to share what you're doing with everybody else as well. So until the next visionary tip, take care.